Hi, my name is Krystal Friese, and I am a 200-hour registered yoga teacher here in Dixon, Illinois, and I teach at a studio called Ruamai Studio. I'd like to thank KSB Community Wellness for giving me this opportunity to share a little bit about the benefits of a yoga practice and how it relates to our brain health. So to start with, I'd like to just name off some common yoga benefits that you would experience with a consistent practice to mostly the physical body. So the first thing that you're going to find with a consistent practice is that you'll lower your stress hormones. It'll activate your parasympathetic nervous system. The other thing that you'll notice is an increase in your feel-good hormones, which is an increase of our endorphins. One that they often talk about is GABA, G-A-B-A. Another benefit that you'll find is that your body gets stronger as you use your body more in yoga class. If you're doing yoga poses correctly, you'll find that your core is activating, and over time you build your core strength. You'll also find an increased range of motion, an increased flexibility. You'll find that your joints are less stiff and more mobile. You'll find over time that you'll be able to sleep better as your body consistently releases tension. You'll find that you'll get a better night's sleep. One of the things that it also does is activate our lymph system, which helps to flush all of our toxins and boost our immune system. It'll improve your circulation. And one of the fun things that it can do is stabilize and regulate emotions, which we'll get to soon. You'll also find yourself with just more self-acceptance and a sense of well-being. And you will also find yourself breathing more appropriately than our normal short, shallow breaths. So to get into how some of that relates to brain health, one of the things that we'll do in a yoga class is regulate our breath. You will find if you pay attention to your breath on a daily basis that we often breathe very shallow and from the chest. So one of the things that we want to do to fully oxygenate the brain is to find some diaphragmatic breathing. So we will really concentrate on learning how to let the belly do the leading of both your inhale and your exhale. Another thing that we can do with the breath and how that helps the brain is we can actually regulate our nervous system. We spend a lot of time in the busyness of life, and we spend a lot of time in that fight or flight part of our brain. When we regulate the nervous system by regulating our breath, we can actually calm the nervous system and give it a chance to rest. So one of the ways that we do that is we inhale for a specific count and we exhale to a specific count. So in a class, we will call that a 3-count breath. If we would like to take that one step further in a more restorative class, which we'll get to in a little bit, we can actually make our exhales twice as long as our inhales and really be able to activate that parasympathetic nervous system, really allowing the body and the brain to get into that rest and digest mode. Another way that yoga will help your brain is through meditation. And meditation can look like many different things in any different class. But really, meditation is a focused concentration. You can focus on the physical sensations in your body that are arising in a pose. You can focus on a mantra. Many people that take my classes will know that I will set a mantra as an I am statement, and I'm giving my brain an opportunity to be renewed. So with every inhale, I'm breathing in the truth of who I am, and every exhale, I let go of anything that anybody said that came against it. Another thing that we could do with meditation is just move. So in a vinyasa class, which we'll get to in a little bit, it takes a lot of concentration to move in and out of poses. And so that concentration is a form of meditation. And what that does is help us stay present. So we will start a class here at the studio helping you find the present moment by letting go of anything that happened before the class and choosing not to worry about anything that's coming next. We start to really tune into the present moment. We stay present throughout the whole class by either bringing our attention to our breath, our mantra, or those physical sensations. And over time, what you'll find is that in your life, you're able to be more present. I once heard a speaker say that his children told him that he was present, but never present, because his mind was always worried about what he had to do next or what he should have done. And so as your brain continues that activation of being present, you'll find yourself being more present for yourself, in your job, in your relationships, and with your family. One other thing that we do to help the brain is we always find time to honor the body. So we thank the body every time in a class for showing up and thanking it for what it can and cannot do, which helps bring a sense of well-being and self-acceptance. So those are some of the key things that you'll find in a yoga class and how that helps the brain. If you're curious about what types of yoga classes and what they look like, if you're searching for a class to attend, I'd like to highlight some of the more common practices. So one of the first practices that I got into was called a vinyasa practice, and it's still probably one of my favorites. A vinyasa practice is a very active class. So you usually hold one pose with one breath and move into the next pose with another breath. This is where we do mindful meditation. It takes focused concentration and balance to get into each pose. And we also are using our breath. So you can see how the breath and the mindfulness continue to help the brain. Another popular style of class is called restorative yoga. And a restorative yoga is a completely passive class. You're holding a posture that is fully supported by many props, blocks, blankets, straps, bolsters. And your job is to completely melt into the pose. 100% passive, you're not trying to feel the stretch. In this class, this is often where we'll use that extended exhale, really getting into that rest and digest mode for the brain. In this class, you will hold poses for 9 to 12 minutes. So we hold them for a long time, and we use that mindful meditation. We're learning of what sensations are arising in our body, and we're taking our inhales into that sensation, and with our exhale, we're seeing if we can release the tension. And we'll find our body melting further and further into the pose. It's super beginner-friendly, and welcome to both the active and non-active participants. Another class that you'll find is something called yin, which is another form of a passive class, except this time we're trying to feel the stretch. So you may find the depth of your stretch and back off about 20% before we prop up our bodies to hold that pose for a lesser time, probably 3 to 5 minutes, because we're trying to feel the intensity of the stretch. One of the classes that we teach here at the studio is, if you see behind me, is this aerial fabric. So aerial is using the aerial fabric to assist in the poses. They can make some poses easier, like inversions. So some people may find it more challenging to do a headstand or handstand on the floor, but the aerial fabric assists in an inversion pose and makes it more accessible for many people. You can also make it more challenging by finding the acrobatic style of the class. One other class that I'd like to highlight that is unique to me is a class that I created called Emotional Awareness. I interned for a consultant for 3 years, and my end of the year project was to take what I learned and put it into a style that I would use every day. So what we do in this emotional awareness class is basically learn to identify our triggers, and we use our body to teach our brains that there's a beginning, a middle, and an end to every situation. And then we learn how to speak compassion over ourselves. So I thank you today for hearing what I have to say about yoga, and we look forward to hearing about your yoga journey.